Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. Happy September 1st. I cannot believe it's September 1st already. I feel like the summer just went by like that, you know? I was actually talking about this in a vlog because it's like one day the summer seems like it's been really, really long, and then the next day it seems like it went by really fast. Today, being that it's September 1st, it feels like it just flew by, and I wish I had spent a few more days at the pool and stuff like that, but you know what? I had just an amazing summer. I really, really did. And as I've gotten older, I have really learned to appreciate the days that I've had, you know, and I talk a lot over here about just appreciation for days that we're content. And even though I wish I had spent some more days at the pool, or that Alex and I had gone on a picnic at the art museum, or, you know, done a drive-in movie or something throughout the summer, I really still feel like we had such a fantastic summer, and I just feel so blessed. You know, we got to travel, and I had my front porch with my plants and my back porch with my plants, and I listened to great books on Audible, and I read great books, and watched great movies and TV shows, and hung out with my good Judies. You know, this summer was really a good summer. And like I said, as I get older, I want to appreciate the moments that I'm having instead of always constantly being like, God, I wish I had done this, or I wish I had done that. And you know, that's something that I've been putting into practice a lot in the last couple years, especially if you watch my vlog from just 2 to 3 years ago. You know, I'm like, there's all these things I wanted to do that I didn't get done this summer, and I was kind of like down on myself. And that expectation that I set for myself that I'm going to get all this stuff done is something that I typically have done throughout my life, whether it's Christmas time or a vacation. It's like I didn't get everything done I wanted to get on vacation or whatever. And you know, it's interesting, on the heels of coming back from Las Vegas, that Alex and I were like laying in bed the last night talking, and we also were talking about this on the way to the airport. It's like we saw 2 shows. We ate great restaurants every single night. We got to see my mother-in-law. We got to see Alex's cousin several nights. You know, we got to go see Fremont Street. We walked up and down the strip a couple times. We went shopping. We hung out in the room. We watched a movie together. We had treats. We gambled. You know, I mean, well, I gambled. He didn't gamble. But, you know, it's just like, it was a fantastic trip. You know, we had romantical time, you know, and it's just like we got time just to sit and talk and have some deep conversations, and it was really, really nice. And, you know, in the past, like, let's say 4 o'clock on Christmas Day, I'd be so sad. I'd be like, this is when I was a kid all the way through, like, my adulthood. You know, I'd be like, oh, Christmas is over, and it was all this work up till Christmas, and now Christmas is over. Typically, we try to plan something now, like, kind of like right after Christmas, so that we have something else to get excited about, because, you know, I like to have those expectations is hard, and I have those expectations in life, you know. And what was it recently that we did? Well, going over and hanging out with like my sober sisters in recovery. You know, there's 5 of us that get together, or that do the Zoom calls on Monday nights, and like once a month we've been getting together for having these little dinners and stuff. And I can remember the last one that we went to, which was just like 3 weeks ago. You know, when I was driving home that night, I was like, I feel like I was just driving here on my way, and now it's over, and I had such a great time. And so I still have to practice these things. You know, I was talking about this in my meeting last night. I don't know, like, in talking about reaching perfection and stuff, it's like, things happen to us in life. We get stressed out, right? We have problems that happen to us, and we're never going to fully achieve just when a problem comes our way, just being like completely peaceful. I know a few people like that, and I don't know, maybe they were born that way. I don't know. I wasn't. But I do have this toolbox of tools that I can work through that, you know, when I set my expectations too high, and then I get let down, or I get hurt because, you know, a trip is over, or holiday is over, or meeting with my friends, you know, instead of doing that, looking at what a great time I had, I can use gratitude for that, right? I can, you know, focus on the positive. I have all these tools today, you know, acceptance, and when problems come my way, looking at that acceptance is the answer to all of my problems today, you know. And because what's the alternative to that? Resistance, you know. And whenever I resist things in my life, then I'm miserable and angry and upset, and I know quite a few people that are just really angry, miserable people, and they're resistant to anything in life, you know. They are resistant to any kind of change, love, compassion, or forgiveness. They just don't want it. And I don't know why. I don't know what their motive is. I don't know what they get out of being miserable, angry, hateful people. I really don't. You know, it's like, but the person that they're the most unloving towards is themselves. And I don't think they realize that sometimes. And, you know, I did that for a long time, and I don't want that today. So that was a long intro, but, Yeah, I mean, I had a great summer, and I'm ready to have a great fall as well. You know, I have fall candles ready. I've already been thinking about the mums that I want to have on my front porch. I'm going to get these, like, witch things that stand up. So I'm excited about fall as well. You know, my friend Melissa and I are starting this podcast, this horror movie podcast. And I have a lot of good things to look forward to, you know? And so that's what I try to do, is live in the present and get excited about things that are right around the corner, you know? And that's how I try to live today. Because there was a time that I constantly lived, you know, just like 6 months down the road, and then 6 months would come, and I really wouldn't enjoy that moment because I had kind of like, I like the planning and like for a trip. As much as it stresses me out, I like the planning and the preparation for it. I get just as excited about getting prepared for a trip that I do actually being on a trip sometimes, you know? And I've learned that. It was funny because Alex's uncle he and his wife, Alex's Tia and his uncle were getting ready to go to Florida this summer. And he said to me, they were going to Naples, Florida, and he was bringing out the suitcases. And he said, don't you just love, like, when you get to bring out the suitcases and you get to start thinking about what you're going to plan to wear on the trip? And I do, you know? And that's in the moment, right? Like, this is such a hard thing for me because I'm always somebody that lives, like, 90 miles an hour. And I'm always thinking forward. And so it's really hard for me to live in the present. And that is something that I am really practicing right now, that I'm really, really practicing, you know? So, all right, with all of that said, happy September. And it doesn't feel like fall yet either. I mean, it's like 80 degrees outside, you know? All right, let's get into the Melody Beatty books today. I'm going to read from The Language of Letting Go. If we have time, I will read from The Journey to the Heart by Melody Beatty. Let's see what she says on this glorious day of September 1st. Little September there with a little bird. Okay, let me have a sip of my coffee first. Oh, this is good. Patience, September 1st. Sometimes we get what we want right away. At other times, we wonder if our desires will ever be fulfilled. We will be fulfilled in the best way possible and as quickly as possible. But some things take time. Sometimes we have lessons to learn first, lessons that prepare us so we can accept the good we deserve. Things are being worked out in us and in others. Blocks in us are being removed. A solid foundation is being laid. Be patient, relax, and trust. Let go. Then, let go some more. Good things are planned for us. We will receive them at the first available moment. We will have all our heart longs for. Relax and trust. Today I will identify what I want and need. Then, I'll be willing to let go of it. I will devote my energy to living my life today so I may master my lessons as quickly as possible. I will trust that what I want and need is coming to me. I will let go of my need to control the details. Oh, wow. Wow, what a fantastic meditation. And you know, patience is a virtue. Patience is a virtue, my mom used to say to me. She used to also say silence is golden. Something that neither one of us practice very well. But, you know, patience is a virtue that I have, like, really worked on for much of my life. And, you know, sometimes it's hard for me to talk about these meditations without me also referencing my belief in a higher power. I kind of try to talk around it for those of you out there that have no belief system. And I think that that's your choice. You know, like, my husband is an atheist, and I respect that, and we still have conversations where I talk about, like, God moments in my life, and God, I mean, I'm a very, very spiritual person. That's probably the one thing that is not really that evident in my videos, because I try to, in any of my channels, I try to talk about things in a way that anybody can relate to them. And, you know, and I know that when I was in early recovery, if people had come to me and said, well, God this and God that, I would have been like, hey, ooh, wait a second, okay, don't be coming Bible thumping to me. Today, I don't see it that way, you know? And so patience is something that has been taught to me over time. And I was actually talking about this in my meeting last night as well, you know, because we were talking about acceptance. And I was saying that, you know, things that at the time that were happening to me that made no sense to me whatsoever. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know why it was happening to me. You know, down the road, I look back on it and I go, oh, okay, I understand. Now God was in that. Like, I get that. Like, I get why that happened, right? You know, and this whole thing of blind faith is so hard, you know? There's a part of our basic text that says, you know, that nothing in God's world happens by mistake. Well, I struggle with that, okay? I struggle with, it was so weird because I was thinking about this the other day, And this book came up by C.S. Lewis, who wrote, you know, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that whole, the Narnia Chronicles. But if you didn't know, he was like a devout Christian. He wrote a lot about Christianity. My mother loved his writing. Now, I am a spiritual person that picks up from many different world religions, and so I don't pertain to any one religion. But he has a book out, and I was like, you know what, Peter, you should get this. Because it just came up on my Audible, and it's like 4 hours, and I was like, okay. And I was like, you should get this book, because it was talking about pain that we suffer in this world, right? And like things that happen that make no sense to us. Like, where is God in those moments, right? Like, how is God in those moments? And I've really been thinking a lot about that lately. But you know, one of the things that's interesting to me is not everything that's happened to me in my life, but there are many things that have happened to me in my life where at the moment I'm just in such pain and agony. I'm like, God, there is no way you are in this. Like, what do you want from me, you know? I have somebody very dear to me in my life that has gone through just hell and back, right? And I said, and they were a person that was just a very spiritual person. And I said to them probably a couple months ago, I said, you know, like, well, you know, like, are you praying on that? Have you thought about, like, you know, we were talking about gratitude lists and whatever. And they said, I don't believe in God anymore. And I said, well, what happened? And they said to me, this turned into a whole video that I didn't expect it to. But they said to me, they said, why would God put one single person through as much as I have been through? You know, and I thought, I don't know what I would do, you know, in your situation. I really don't. Maybe I would turn my back on God as well. You know, maybe I would believe that God is not in that. I know that in the moment, you know, it's like I used to say, the saying, which I got wrong for years, was when you're going through the middle of something tragic or hard, look up and say thank you because you're about to learn a valuable lesson. That's the quote that I thought it was. But I do believe that to be true. I do believe that, right? But in looking back at the Oprah video of it, clip that you can find on YouTube, the actual quote is, when you're going through something that she learned from Maya Angelou, is that when you're going through a difficult time in your life, look up and say thank you because this too shall pass. And that has been proven to me, you know, that this too shall pass, and that, you know, I can get through things with having a spiritual foundation in my life. I can get through things, and if you don't have a spiritual foundation, you can get through things with having people to lean on in your life, you know, or putting one foot in front of the other and trying to just do the best that you can do for the day. You know, that's all you can do. I have a friend of mine that we were talking about that, and she was like, you know, some days, she was like, I just want to lay on the couch. And she was like, you know, but like, I hung 2 pictures. And that was the best that I could do for that day. And I'm like, I have been there, you know. I have been there when that's the best that I can do. And that's the best that you can do. And don't beat yourself up for it. You know, sometimes it's just hard. And, you know, speaking on patience, it's like, when I was in early sobriety, one of the things that were like these little tricks that they would have, like, you know, people do is put up like carts at the grocery store, and like if you were practicing patience, you know, your sponsor would have you like hold the door open for 3 people at the gas station, let 3 people go in line ahead of you. So you had to practice patience in action, you know. I know today at 49 years old, okay, in recovery, out of recovery, whatever, I know today that things happen on God's time, not mine. I know that. I can force the timing of things. I can want the timing of things. I can want it to happen when I want it to happen, but things happen on God's time, not mine, you know? And I know that today. Or things happen in the world's time, not mine. And I know that. And so I do try to practice patience. But sometimes, like I was talking about, in having this toolbox of tools that I have, sometimes I have to sit there and I have to say to myself, okay, I need to practice patience today. You know, I need to like turn on some music and slow down and just be part of the universe today. And sometimes that's great for me, you know, to just like not always be in such a hurry to go anywhere, but just to like slow down, turn on some music or an audiobook and just, or with the silence. I love to drive in silence and just be part of the world, you know, and that's good practice for me. All right, let's see what Journey to the Heart says. If it's really long, I probably won't read it, but let's see. Oh, I pulled it right to September 1st. It's so crazy. Well, it's not too long, but it's long. September 1st, make it a labor of love. The mirror was framed with a ceramic octopus. It had the sweetest, most peaceful energy. It made me smile when I saw it. Do you like it? My friend asked. Arnold made it. That's when I knew why it was so delightful. Its energy, delightful, joyous, and sweet, was Arnold's energy. The things we create have energy. A meal we cook, a task we perform, no matter how big or small. What we do contains our energy, the emotional energy and attitude we put into it. We learned this in the Rhonda Byrne magic book as well. Have you ever cooked a meal when you felt angry and disrupted, hurried and harried? Have you noticed the difference when you cooked that meal in a loving frame of mind? Merely doing the job isn't always enough. We need to do the job with our best energy, our most positive emotional and mental attitude. Take time before you begin a task to become conscious of the energy you want to put into it. The energy you want that task to have and reflect to yourself and others. I'll tell you why I'm laughing in a second. Make conscious, deliberate choices. The larger the task, the more time you may want to spend developing your ideas about it. On particularly significant projects, you may want to spend time visualizing and writing down your ideas so you can focus that energy into your work. Experiment with this idea. Okay, wait. On particularly significant projects, you may want to spend time visualizing and writing down your ideas so you can focus that energy into your work. Experiment with this idea. See how it comes to life as you do your daily tasks. See how much better the people around you feel when you do your tasks in love. See how much more joy and pleasure work brings to you. There is honor in all work, in all tasks, but take it one step further. Make what you do a labor of love. Then your work will truly touch and change the world in the way you desire. The work you do, whatever your chosen field, will be work that heals. I love this. I love this so much. And you know, it's crazy because it's something that I've really learned on YouTube, you know? And there was a time that, I'm still so driven to get up every single day and make videos. And there was a time that I would get up and I'd be like in a hurry and I'm like, I gotta get this done, I gotta get that done, and blah, 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 whatever. And I would make a video on my drama channel, per se. I would make a video on my drama channel, you know, for example. And I would like have no emotional attachment to the topic that I was discussing, right? But I was just like rushed. You know, maybe I had gotten a phone call from like a friend of mine that had gone back out, or maybe I was sad about that, or I don't know. You know, there'd just be something going on in my personal life. And I would sit down in the video and I'd be flipping fans and whatever. And then I would read the comments and people would say, oh my God, you seem so aggressive in this video, or you seem really angry in this video. And what it was I hadn't, because like I said, I had no emotional attachment to the topic. I had, most of the topics over there I don't, you know? And I had not checked myself spiritually before I had gone into doing that, you know? And today, that's why it's so important for me to sit down and do my prayers and my meditations. And this is something I've been practicing for 2 years. And trust me, on the days that I don't do it, I really can tell a difference. Like, I really, you would think it's no big deal, right? Oh, it's just prayers, it's just gratitude lists that you say out loud. I still, to tell on myself, I still haven't started doing a written gratitude list. I did it for like a day or two and then I stopped. But it makes a huge difference. It really does. Even just for me to do my prayers and my meditations, you know? You don't have to be a spiritual person. Just go outside in the universe and say, dear universe, I am part of you today, you know? Like, thank you for allowing me to be part of the universe today. And just, you know, take a deep breath in and out. Get yourself centered. Ask yourself if you're okay before you go do whatever you... And if you have to do that on your way to work while you're driving, you can do that, you know? I think our attitudes and how we feel about things are seen so much in how we, like, in what we do, and we don't even realize it. My battery died and then my husband called. Okay, so let me just tie this up and finish this up, you know? When going to situations or when we're going out into the world, you know, there are days that my best friend Tanya will say to me, you know, like, I just have no business being out in the world today, you know? And there are days that I feel like that too, right? But like, those aren't really good excuses after the fact, I feel like. You know, like, have you ever like really, you know, like, I don't know, shown your ASS, or, you know, like a friend of yours has shown their ASS and like really been angry at you, or, you know, like at a family function, you get into a fight, or in a work situation, you get into an argument, or just, you know, like hanging out with people, you know, and it's like, that is not who I am, and I know that's not who I am, but in that moment, that was who I was, right? And so you can't sit there and say, hey, I mean, we do it all the time where we say, hey, like, listen, you know, like, I'm really sorry, like, this happened, and then the dog did this, and then this happened, and then I was, you know, and people are like, I hope going forward, because this is a lesson that I've learned, that in those moments, what I can learn is I can say to myself, you know, I can say to other people, you know, I'm probably just not in a place today to go into this family function. Like, I'm sorry that I'm going to miss out on it. Or really do the work to center myself before I go into that situation. And the other thing that I know, I learned this on day one in sobriety, and I forget it sometimes, is I can leave a situation whenever I want. You know, if I get into a situation and I can feel myself getting heated, I don't have to like grab my bag and tear out of there, okay? I've done that, right? Where you throw your bag over your shoulder and you go, let me tell you something. But I don't feel very good about the situation when I do that, right? But I can sit there and I can, you know, look at the people that I'm with and I can say, you guys, you know what? I'm just not in a great space tonight and I need to get out of here and I love you and I'll call you tomorrow. You know, and I can do that today, right? And I can do that and I can stop it right there. And I think that that's an important lesson that I've learned in my life, you know? So anyway, and that, again, that's what I'm saying. It's like this toolbox of tools that we have, you know? All of these meditations that I read over here, okay? This is not genius science. This isn't like the greatest wisdom in the world. You know, these are basic, core, simple principles that, when applied, improve our lives. You know, this is why I encourage people to get these books. These books, other books, all kinds of books, self-help books, motivational books. Those books just add more tools to our toolbox. You know, they just give us more skills and more, you know, tools to use down the road when we come through things like grief or anger or rage or, you know, resentment or whatever. It's like now we have all these skills and these tools in our toolbox to work on those things. So anyway, those were great meditations today. Happy September 1st. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.